Thrive Alpha, I found this quote: every woman's love language is not having to ask. If I have to ask, I'd rather do it myself. This is true, and why. This is also the reason you will get divorced. Ladies, you do have to ask. Communicate. This idea that you can use telepathy and men are just supposed to understand what you're believing. You're supposed to just get it. You can do this. And as a man, and originally when you're dating, it's something you tolerate. But later on, when we're raising the kids, don't tell me to just fucking get it. It's time for me. You need to say words with your mouth about what we need to do so that the offspring can fucking survive. Yeah. And like, just when women don't grasp this is why there's a fucking 56% divorce rate. It is because of this concept of women saying men need to just get it. No, you need to tell them initially. Now, eventually, if they deliberately don't get it, then there's an issue. But if it is your emotionality that's getting offended because he didn't anticipate your needs every fucking 5 seconds, go find another dude who will gaslight you.
Yeah, but it's not just boyfriend and I had just had that discussion the other day because he went home to Utah and went to like one of his like favorite restaurants, and I'm like, oh, is that the place that you took me with like the really good fried chicken? And he's like, yeah. And then he had to drive home, and I'm like, oh, I was like, okay, I guess I'll figure out what I'm gonna eat here. And like I thought that meant like, you know, why don't you bring me something home?
Buy me Uber.
But, yeah, but he was like, babe, you should have just asked me if you wanted something. Yeah, and I'm like, well, I kind of said like, isn't that where I have the good stuff was? And he's like, you just should have asked me. Yeah, and I'm like, hey, baby, I have a really hard time because of like my past asking for anything. So I need to be better at that.
Well, because men and women communicate differently in the sense that like women communicate covertly, men communicate overtly. Directly, okay, so men, it's like mean what you say and say what you mean. Men's conversations are all information based. It's content based. For women, it's context. How did you feel? How did you feel about the conversation? Let's catch up at Starbucks today. The conversation itself is the point of the whole thing. Whereas guys, it's like, how to fix a carburetor. Okay, here's how we're going to do it, and we're going to hit step 1, step 2. It's all information based.
I'll show you how to do that.
It's much more it's much more blunt, right? And women think that guys are like just stupid cavemen because that's how they communicate. No, it's just we have different forms of communication. So what's going on is like when Mike's saying, hey, we can't just like read your fucking minds. It's because we speak overt and you speak covert. So when you have, I think a lot of guys mistake this for being like sort of passive aggressive, and it can be, but it's the idea that, oh, well, it looks like the kids would really like to go to Disneyland this month, but I don't know if we're going to be like, or talking to the dog, but you're not talking to the dog. You're actually talking to your husband over here. You're actually talking to, and it's like you're having this conversation, but it's not with the dog. It's actually with you, right? Because there's this want or this.
It's you're stating something, hoping he's picking up what you're putting down.
Right,
because you want him to just get it.
For sure. And so here's the thing. Ladies, my advice for you is to get over this idea that men need to just get it. And fellas, you need to understand that women want you to just get it because that's how you're going to get them. One of my favorite stories whenever we go over the subject is Henry II in 1170 saying to his fucking knights, he said, will someone rid me of this meddlesome priest? And the knights don't understand what he's saying. So what do they do? What do, Rollo? They go and murder Thomas Becket, the Archbishop of Canterbury. And they did so. And it wasn't an order. He didn't tell him to go do it. He just said, man, will somebody get rid of this fucking asshole for me? And they'd go and fucking kill the Archbishop of Canterbury. Instead of removing him. So what does that mean? It's because men in general we don't communicate this way. And the knights, they wanted to please him, so they went off and they did it anyway. They tried to just get it.
You guys deal in extremes.
Yeah, well, anyway, that's just kind of an expression of what I'm talking about.
Black, white.
But see, the other part of this is that it's also sort of a shit test. It's a fitness test. You want a guy who understands that you don't want to be told that you're playing a game. You want him to be able to be a very good player at that game. So it's like
we just don't tell them the rules.
It's not even so much like guys say, well, what am I supposed to be, a mind reader? No, you're supposed to just get it well enough that a guy who would be alpha, a guy who would be the dude that you would want to get with, like if a guy has to have masculinity explained to him, he's not the guy for you. He's not the guy for you.